Cliff Richard told us, Christmas time is a time for rejoicing in all the good things that we see. But it's also, if you're a film critic, a time for recrimination and getting even. Yes, welcome to my bottom 10 of 2011. Now, you may remember halfway through the year, I did a bottom 5, saying these are the films that really stand out as the stinkers so far. Will they feature in the top 10? Well, yes, they do. But is the number 1 spot unchanged? At number 10, The Lion King in 3D. Now, don't get me wrong, I love The Lion King. I think The Lion King is fabulous. I've seen The Lion King loads of times. Let's face it, most people of my age have. Did it need to be in 3D? Did the circle of life need to become the sphere of life? No, we didn't need to be drawn into those wonderful landscapes. We were drawn in already. The most fatuous use of 3D of the year, The Lion King 3D at number 10. At number 9, Human Centipede 2 full sequence. Now, I know the film had some high-profile champions. It had a rough time at the BBFC. They made several cuts to many of its more extreme sequences. I saw the cut version, and it still looked pretty repulsive to me. Here's the main problem. Any film that fills you with warm memories of the early unwatchable shorts of Jörg Buttgereit is doing something very wrong indeed. Not only do I not want Human Centipede 2 on my DVD shelves, I don't want it in my house. At number 8, indulge me here because I've allowed myself a double bill. 2 films, both remakes of very controversial originals, and both, in my opinion, utterly without merit. See, here's my question. If you wanted to sit down and watch either I Spit on Your Grave or Straw Dogs, wouldn't you want to see the original rather than some trashy remake? I mean, the originals were problematic. The remakes are perfunctory in the extreme. At number 7, Sucker Punch, the old reliable from Zack Snyder. Now, when the film came out, I panned it. And then it came out on DVD, and people said, oh, well, you know, you need to see all the extra stuff. You need to look at all the stuff around it, because really, you misjudged that film the first time around. There's so much more depth. Watch it on DVD. I did. There isn't. At 6, here's a little widget that you probably haven't seen. In fact, almost no one saw it. It's a movie which took so little money, it made Danny Dyer's Pimp look like a rocking box office success. I'm talking, of course, about Love's Kitchen, a homegrown Brit pick set in a kitchen, which features a cameo from Gordon Ramsay, who is told, Gordon, your empire's incredible. Go away. So, now we're into the top 5. At 5, The Dilemma. Now, if I had to choose a Kevin James movie, it's between The Dilemma and Zookeeper. Dilemma is worse, partly because it's directed by Ron Howard, who I like, and therefore I have higher expectations of, and partly because it's one of those films that is just so gratingly misjudged, it has to feature in the bottom 10 of the year. Is it a comedy? Is it a social drama? Is it an endurance test? Who knows? All I know is that having seen The Dilemma once, I never want to have to watch it again to figure out exactly what it was that I hated about it so much the first time. At 4, The Hangover Part 2. And to anyone who paid to see The Hangover Part 2, what were you thinking about? The worst thing about The Hangover Part 2, quite apart from the fact that it's a rancid, stupid, god-awful affair which just repeats all the original gags turned up to 11, it took money. People went to see it. You're just encouraging them to do more. I wrote a book about the declining expectations of cinema audiences, and nowhere is the proof of that seen more clearly than in the fact that Hangover Part 2 actually turned out to be a box office hit. Why? It needs to be buried in a very, very deep hole. Into the top 3 now, and you know what? 2011 turned out to be a pretty good year for Michael Bay because he hasn't made the top bottom spot of my list, nor indeed the number 2 spot. No, Transformers Dark of the Moon, the utterly unwanted third part in the Transformers series, is only in at number 3. All the headbanging 3D, all the nauseating upskirt shots, all those things put together still make it only the 3rd worst movie of the year. Hey Michael, that's an improvement. And now at number 2, I first saw it last year, I saw it in the cinema this year, and then I watched it again on DVD this year, and it's only just been pipped to the number 1 spot. Yes, Jean-Luc Godard's worst film to date, film Socialisme, is in at number 2. Here's an interesting thing. A lot of people said, well, the problem with that film was you didn't understand it. You didn't understand it. You didn't really grab the subtext, the meaning of the film. Well, one of the reasons I didn't understand it was that it was subtitled in Navajo English, like 1 word in 4. That problem is solved on DVD. On DVD, and I believe against the express wishes of Jean-Luc, the DVD came with full English subtitles. So I sat down and I watched the movie with full English subtitles. Still made bugger all sense. All of which brings us to the number one spot. Yes, the very worst film of 2011. Now, I'll admit that for most of the year I thought nothing's going to be able to top or bottom film Socialisme. Nothing could be that bad. And then just when it looked like we were safe, we were all done and dusted, they snuck one in under the wire. They saved the worst till last. A film so vile, so repugnant, so trashy, so black of heart that it made everything else look actually quite good.
Is it New Year's Eve? Is it?
The worst film of 2011 from the makers of Valentine's Day is New Year's Eve. And you want to know the worst thing about New Year's Eve? It came out at the very beginning of December, and it wouldn't be out of date until the very beginning of January. That's a month. That's a whole month, an entire month of your local multiplex being stunk up by something so putrid, it makes even someone who loves cinema think, you know what? I'm going to read more books next year.
It's about getting another chance to do more, to give more, to love more.
Because that's what New Year's is all about.